A stunning new United Nations report was leaked this week claiming that North Korea has been sending equipment to Damascus that could be used to make chemical weapons. The report documents at least 40 previously unreported shipments of chemical weapons components between 2012 and 2017, and says that North Korean missile technicians were seen working at Syrian chemical weapons facilities. The allegations, just the latest in a string of troubling developments as Syria's 7-year-old civil war threatens to engulf the region. Earlier, I spoke to South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who just returned from a trip to the Israel-Syria border. You just got back from the Middle East. We want to talk about that. But first, I want to talk to you about the news, get your reaction to the news from the UN, that the UN has found that North Korea supplied material and experts for Syria to build chemical weapons plants, going back many years, but as recently as the last 2. What do you make of that?
Well, if the UN found it, it was pretty obvious. All kidding aside, the biggest concern about allowing North Korea more capability is that they share their capability or sell it. So the idea of allowing them to build an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top to hit America is a non-starter because they're likely to take that technology and share it or sell it. So that's why I think President Trump is right to deny them the capability to hit the homeland. This is just another example of how they share their technology with bad actors.
So there's no way, in your view, that we can contain North Korea, like Susan Rice and others say, because we can threaten massive retaliation. You're saying they'll just sell it.
Yeah, I think it's the hardest decision any president has to make. There's no place to kick the can now. We've run out of options pretty much in North Korea. Now it's time to tell them to stop. So the president's made a decision. I'm going to deny them the capability to hit the homeland with a nuclear weapon through an ICBM. And the main reason that we want to do that is if you allow them one hydrogen bomb, they'll get 50 over time, and they'll sell it or give it away, just like you see with this episode in Syria. So I don't think containment works. I think they're likely to sell anything they build, and that's a nightmare for the world at large.
Okay, now in Syria, you inspected the Israeli-Syrian border, and you can look down on that Damascus plain, as you know, and you can see what's going on there. How big a problem is this, the military buildup by Iran and Hezbollah in Lebanon and Russia in Syria?
It's far worse than I thought it would be. On the Golan Heights on the Israeli side, you can see right in front of you a village in Syrian Democratic Forces' hands. You can see one village over in Assad's hands with Hezbollah flags flying. 20 miles down the road, there's an ISIL-held town of 80,000 people. So the Assad regime is moving all throughout Syria. The Syrian Democratic Forces are collapsing, and wherever Assad goes, Hezbollah goes with them, and that's a nightmare for Israel.
Well, and we had the skirmish there with recently with Iran sending a drone into Israel, or Israel retaliating. How regularly is Israel now bombing in Syria to stop that buildup?
Pretty regularly. The fear is that between Damascus and Beirut, there's going to be a corridor where weapons can pass. The big takeaway, Paul, was South Lebanon. The environment along the Syrian-Israeli border, the Golan Heights border, is turning bad for Israel at a pretty rapid pace. But southern Lebanon is a nightmare. It makes Gaza look stable. The IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, said that there are over 100,000 rockets and missiles in the hands of Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. And as you recall, Israel withdrew from southern Lebanon years ago. The United Nations was supposed to police the area. The United Nations Interim Force Lebanon has sat on the sidelines and watched Hezbollah dominate southern Lebanon with missile technology that now threatens every part of Israel. So it's a matter of time until Israel strikes southern Lebanon.
Well, it seems to me that though the Trump administration has said rhetorically they are going to oppose Iranian expansion in the Middle East.
Right.
They do not have a policy to do that in Syria. Would you agree with that?
Well, yes. General Votel, who's the CENTCOM commander in charge of Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq, said this Tuesday: "Make no mistake, while we continue to confront this scourge of terrorism, Iran's malign activities across the region posed a long-term threat to stability in this part of the world. And he said the following: countering Iran is not one of the coalition missions in Syria. So I see no strategy to deal with the Russian-Iranian connection that is dominating Syria. Syrian democratic forces are falling. Iran now is de facto control of Damascus, and that will throw the entire region into further chaos.
I assume you're going to deliver that message to the White House one of these days here coming up.
Yeah, I talked to General Mattis today about it. I'm writing an op-ed piece, hopefully in the Wall Street Journal, but I'm going to meet with General McMaster and tell him that 7 United States senators, 4 Democrats and 3 Republicans, believe that Israel is in a no-win situation. The United Nations has failed miserably to protect Israel's borders regarding Lebanon and southern Lebanon, and it's just a matter of time before Israel has to use military force. And the message is you need to come up with a policy not just to destroy ISIL, but to counter Iran. You know, Obama withdrew from Iraq. He took a pass on taking Assad on when he was weak. The vacuum was filled by Russia, Iran, Hezbollah, and we have no plan to push back.
All right. One other quick subject. If the President of the United States fires his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, is the Senate going to confirm a new Attorney General this year?
I don't know if I'd vote for anybody dumb enough to take the job. so here's the deal. Jeff Sessions doing a good job. This criticism against Jeff about appointing somebody to look at the DOJ, FBI problems with FISA is unwarranted because Jeff rightly recused himself. But I agree with the President in this regard. We need a special counsel to look at the FISA abuses here. They're real. I don't think the IG is capable of doing it. He's a good man, an honest man. Institutionally, he doesn't have the tools of a special counsel. But as far as Jeff Sessions goes, I think he's doing a good job. And I cannot imagine the turmoil that would be created to try to replace him in this environment.
All right. Thank you, Senator Graham. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.